Okay, hello everyone. Let's go ahead and learn a little bit more on how to do some photo editing. We've been doing digital artwork for the most part of this week. Let's go ahead and continue on with photo editing. And in this case, let's talk about how to Photoshop, or in this case, use Pixlr to merge two types of pictures together. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to go to Google Classroom, and it's again going to take you to Pixlr E. Now these are projects that I've previously done using this program, but I want to go ahead and show you how to go ahead and incorporate two images together. You're going to need three things. Number one, you're going to need to go into Pixlr E. You're going to go ahead and create new, full HD, and click create once more. Now, you can go ahead and click open image if you'd like at this point. Now I'm going to go ahead and just select a very recent image that I just took on here. Let's see where it's saved. It should be under pictures. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and select the image now. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a dinosaur egg into my hands right here. So in order to accomplish that, what you're going to need is you're going to need an image where you have a white background. This image works really well. You're going to want to right click, or in this case, if you're using a Chromebook, you're going to want to use two fingers to tap your mouse area. And you're going to go ahead and click open image in a new tab. Make sure you have a nice version of this. I'm going to go ahead and right click and copy and paste. So you can do edit, paste, click allow, and it's going to open it onto a new layer. Now notice, first off, it is very large. It is going to be large, okay? Now make sure that you have it set to fixed right here, because if you set it free, it's going to go ahead and deform your image. You want to make sure you're clicking the little arrow, click your object, make sure it says fixed, and then it's going to make the little squares, and you can adjust to the size that you want your object to be. Now, obviously, I still have all this white space around it. That's where this little part right here comes into play. This is the wand select, so it's a magic select. It selects the outside edge of the image. Now, if I just delete it right here, it's going to delete the inside of the egg, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just erase the most part of it using the eraser tool right here, and just make sure that I am making the tool nice and large so that I have lots of space. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep it like that, and I'm just going to use the eraser tool to go around my image very carefully to try to leave as much of the original shell shape as I possibly can. Now, it's not necessarily going to be perfect, but you want to try to keep it as good as you want. Now, you don't necessarily have to do what I did. It doesn't have to, see right here, it's too blurry. So I'm going to go ahead and click undo, Control Z. And I'm going to switch to a harder edge eraser right here. And just very carefully erase the edge. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, because you're going to go in and clean up your lines. Now I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit right here, just to make sure I've erased all the spots that I don't want. Now, it doesn't matter what color your background is. You can choose whatever color you want. If it has a bright green background, that's fine. If it has a white background, that's fine. But you want to make sure that it has a solid colored background. And the thing is, if the background is the same color as your object, that's going to make it more difficult. So make sure you're choosing something where the background looks different for your object. So I chose the image that has white, and the shell is just close enough that it makes it selected at the same time. So unfortunately, that causes me some difficulty, as you can see. Now, once you're happy with the results, you can go ahead and start changing sizes to make sure that it is the size that you want. And how you do that is, once again, you're going to click here. This one, you're going to click the marquee just to select something that's not the actual object. You're going to use the little arrow to go ahead and move your image click transform. Sorry, it's not wanting to select. Click the right layer. There it goes. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and move it until I find it just the right spot for my image. So I kind of want this to be facing me. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this, move it, and you can click some of these buttons and it'll allow you to flip. So right here, this is the flip horizontal button. So this is going to face it this way. But I think actually I like it better this direction. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it like this. So one of the issues that you have is that in this particular case, I have all my fingers in the image. So what you can do is you can go over to your object, click the three little dots, and adjust the transparency. What that's going to do is when you zoom in, you're going to be able to see the image behind through your object. So this is where you're going to go ahead and take your eraser tool. Make sure that you get something slightly softer and go ahead and start erasing the picture on the top layer. So this will allow you to start seeing the background image. In this case, it's going to be the rest of my hands. So I'm going to go ahead and just erase little portions of it, just so you can see my hand on the other side. Do you have to absolutely do this way? No. So in this case, I messed up just a little bit because I wanted to be able to see my fingers behind. So I'm going to go ahead and click it again just to make the transparency a little bit more. There we go. And just keep erasing just in the spaces where you would overlap. So remember we talked about layering and overlapping earlier this semester. So as you keep going, you're going to erase those sections. Now it's not going to be perfect. I'm going to go ahead and increase this just so I can go a little bit faster, because we need to move quickly and go. We're starting to get a little bit long on this video. So I'm going to go ahead and keep erasing. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be close enough for me to demonstrate at this point. So now you're going to go ahead and increase the opacity again. And what's going to happen is you're going to see the background object. So now it's already starting to look a little bit more like it's in my hands. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click over here and we're going to click this dodge burn. This is going to darken certain areas and leave other areas light. You want to darken any area where you're overlapping. So I'm going to go ahead and click darken. I'm going to click right here, make my brush really big, and just darken everything. Click dark, shadows, just keep going until it darkens everything in those spaces. And obviously you might have to erase a couple things a little bit more just to really make it look right. Keep fiddling with it, but as you darken it, as you add shadows, it's going to look a lot better. Now my picture is blurry and this one is very sharp. So that's what the next thing you can do is you can have the blur, increase the size. And now this one's going to be just a little bit blurry too. You're going to keep going until everything matches and looks right together. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Remember, you can always erase areas so that they look just a little bit better, a little bit more smooth, until you're perfectly happy with your image. Now you can blur, you can blend, and that is accomplished. Again, this is blurring. This is where you blur, sharpen, makes it a little bit more clear to see. Smudging blends. This one lightens. This one darkens. Keep playing with these. I highly recommend to look at highlights, midtones, shadows. as you play with these, it's going to affect the colors in different ways. And you're going to come up with, I promise you, you'll come up with a much more interesting image than I did this quickly, because as you can see, I did it in about 10 minutes. So I'm sure you can do much better in a little bit, given a little bit more time. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I can help you. The biggest, most important parts for this part is to have a background layer, a foreground layer focused on your erasing, and focus on using the dodge burn tool. If you have any questions, again, feel free to ask, and have a great day.